Why Not? A queer podcast.
Thank you to our sponsor, Pineapple Healthcare, an award-winning primary care clinic right here in Orlando.
Pineapple Healthcare offers mental health counseling, HIV, STI testing and treatment, and specializes in care for the LGBTQ plus community.
Open Monday through Saturday. Call today at 407-553-6336 and schedule your appointment.
Pineapple Healthcare. Better together.
Hi, everybody. I'm Rick Todd.
And I'm Jeremy Williams, and you're listening to Wine,
Why Not? A queer podcast.
episode 113.
Well, cheers to that.
Cheers to 113.
Here's to being
Are you
alive.
drinking out of an orange?
I'm drinking. This is that cup, the mug that I got. It's the
one you were supposed to drink out of like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, the Orange Bird one I was supposed to drink out of for the Flower and Garden Festival.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. I hear that's still going on through June.
But you know what? I wish it made my drinks taste like orange.
I guess that depends on what you're drinking.
Well, this would be fun. An orange energy drink. That'd be good.
Yeah. What if you're drinking milk?
I'd drink orange milk.
Would you? That sounds disgusting.
I would drink orange milk. Do you drink a lot of milk?
No, I don't. I drink a lot of creamer, which is milk based.
Yeah, that's true.
So I would never drink orange flavored creamer.
I used to drink an insane amount of milk. Like, what do you think is too much? Like, if somebody was like, "Hey, I drink milk," how much do you think that would be?
I think if you're not an infant, more than 8 ounces a day.
Okay, so what? Like a half a gallon?
glass.
A half a gallon a week?
Oh, I think you were saying half a gallon a day. Sure. Yeah, half a gallon a week sounds good.
I used to drink 3 gallons a week.
That's too much.
For sure.
It's too much. You have enough calcium. Let it go.
Yeah. I mean, that's when I was getting fat and I had teats.
Well,
I had to stop.
were they filled with milk? Did you feed small kittens on your way home?
I didn't squeeze them to see, but that would be a lie.
Oh. Anyway, so yeah
good times.
113. So I came up with a few 113s for you, which I think generally, not that they're not entertaining, but I feel like these are more entertaining than in years past. And by years, I mean episodes. 113 is the name of a French hip hop group that has released 5 albums between 1999 and 2010. By the way, that's the least interesting of what
Do
I'm
you
going to
know
tell
what
you.
they're
Starting low.
Do you know how to say their name in French?
Santa Teresa Santa.
If anybody speaks French, please message us and let us know what Jeremy just said.
Centre. It's coming to me. Tres.
There you go.
113.
He used the infamous app Caitlin Translate to figure that out.
But they got their band name because it was the building number of the housing estate where the members all grew up when they were young.
Oh,
This one's in. Oh, excuse me.
there's a lot of that, by the way, using
Yeah.
using the number because of an address. And
Yeah.
I've got an interesting fact about that.
Go ahead.
Did you already get it? Did you get this one? The Disney Easter egg?
A113?
A113?
Yes, that's actually, it's not specific just to Disney. It is from the California Institute of the Arts and is the room number for the graphic design and character animation department. So it's used in every single Pixar film. It's used in a bunch of Disney films, but it's also found in episodes of South Park, The Simpsons, Family Guy, Arthur, bunch of movies.
Huh.
Tim Burton went there, Brad Bird, the guy who put Pixar together, but may have sexually harassed somebody. I don't know the details, so I'm going to say allegedly, but he had to
Is his last name Singer?
No, it's John Lasseter. John Lasseter.
You know
So,
what?
yeah,
you know a lot more about animation than I do, or that I would have thought you did, because you said John Bird like that's a name I should know.
Brad Bird.
Brad Bird.
He did The Incredibles, The Iron Giant.
I don't know her.
Yeah.
Is the Iron Giant good? Because
So
you
good.
you just said the Iron Giant, and then you went,
It's one of my favorite movies when I was a
Really?
kid. Well, one of my favorite movies when I was a teenager. It came out in the late 90s. I was a teen, but I still to this day love cartoons. And it's really good. Well, you know what actually led me to watch that movie initially is we all know that we're huge fans of Friends. Jennifer Aniston does a voice in it. And I was like, oh, if a friend is in that movie, I should probably check it out. And it's a really good movie. Vin Diesel does the voice of the robot, but it was back during like thespian Vin Diesel. And it was after.
So he said more than I am Groot.
Yeah, it was before he did Fast and Furious and the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, but he was in like legit. He was in a Scorsese film. He was in Saving Private Ryan. He did the voice of the Iron Giant. He was doing like legit cinema.
I hear like
As Scorsese would say.
He's really close with The Rock.
I'm not picking at that wound. They're two fine gentlemen who have their reasons. But I did pull up the list because, like I said, it appears in every single Pixar film. And I just throw out your favorite Pixar film. I'll tell you where it appears.
Oh, jeez.
Oh,
How do I know?
gosh.
Who made Pixar? What? You name me a Pixar movie and I'll tell you if I like it.
The Incredibles.
Who?
Directed by Brad Bird.
I don't really care about
Toy
The
Story,
Incredibles.
Monsters,
Okay,
Inc., Bugs
I like
Life,
Toy
Finding
Story.
Nemo.
I like Toy Story.
A113 is the license plate for Andy's mom's minivan in the
Okay,
Toy
now
Story
how
movies.
did they in Finding Nemo?
Finding Nemo, it was the model number on the camera used by the scuba diver.
Huh.
Yeah. They're not all like visual. Some of them, they speak them out. And I thought this one was really cool. Where did, I should have earmarked this one. But it is, the one in the, in Brave, it's the, Witch's Cottage house number, but it's written in Roman numerals because it's old timey. But they speak them like there's one where they say, they're speaking a code into a walkie-talkie and says it's a 113 as a code for something. So I thought that was cute. Yeah, so it's in every one of the movies. You just gotta look for it. In A Good Dinosaur, apparently it's spelt in the mountain and the trees as the dinosaurs are going by. So check them out. Another one that I found is there is a TV show called 113. It's a documentary series in Norway, and it follows EMTs through northern Norway as they go on calls. I'm assuming it's called 113 because that's probably their number for calling an ambulance.
Oh, yeah.
And then my favorite, 113, is the nickname for Dogukan Balci. It's Russian. He is a 20-year-old... No, I'm sorry, it's Turkish. He's a 20-year-old Turkish League of Legends esport player, and he is currently a jungler for Team BDS. I won't elaborate, but I know everything that I just said and what it means.
I don't know anything of what you just said.
So, League of Legends, it's like an online game, and then you like form groups or teams, and then you like compete, and you can win like medals and money and fame and glory. And he is a part of the beloved BDS team. And I threw beloved in there allegedly. I don't.
They must have a fan.
I don't. They must. But his nickname is 113. So shout out to Dogukan.
Your Turkish is impeccable.
Much like my French. Did you have any 113s you wanted to share?
January 13th. That's my birthday.
Oh,
That's
well,
all
there
that
you
matters.
go. All right.
Well, of course, I have the 113th greatest film of all time.
Oh, I thought we stopped there. The 113th greatest film of all time.
But you should be glad. So this just takes a second to say
Sure.
what this is. So just be glad that we're just saying this and that we're not picking these as films to watch.
Yeah.
Shoot the Piano Player. It's a 1960s French crime drama. I did read the synopsis, but it's so insane. It's
Does
like
it sound entertaining?
I mean, there's like this. Let me see if I can remember because it was just a little wacky. So I was like, I'm not going to write this down. But there's like
I'm going to
this famous.
Chuck Schumer you as I listen.
There's this. Does that mean you're going to pass my budget?
Go on.
So there were.
That was
there
my
were. It was very good.
Thank
by
you,
the way,
thank you.
it was better than your Turkish or your French. There's a famous French piano player, and there's something about his wife. I don't know if he kills her or she commits. Oh, I think she commits suicide for some reason, and so he changes his name and goes and plays at some bar, and then the waitress at the bar falls in love with him, and because she knows who he really is, and then somehow gangsters get involved in this bar and then kidnap them. and then she goes to protect him from something, and she dies. It's kind of, I don't know. It's
Spoiler alert. People might watch that.
yeah. You know what? I apologize to all of you who just listened to that and thought I'm gonna go. Nope, no, I'm not.
Do you know where it's streaming?
Do you think
How
it
about
is?
our listeners? I don't know.
Oh, I thought like you looked it
maybe
up.
you looked it up. No.
No. Not something I'm gonna watch. And then 113th greatest director of all time. You're not gonna get it. I don't know. You might get it because it might be a Pixar director. You don't know.
I don't know.
Dario Argento,
Oh yeah.
a director of horror films. Are you familiar with his work?
Yes, he directed Pixar's A Nightmare on Elm Street.
It's like you look like you're about to make some shit up.
The name sounds familiar, but nothing comes to mind.
He looks frightening. He looks like he directs horror movies.
Do you have a few movies that he directed?
I wouldn't know any of them.
Oh, okay.
I looked it up, but I didn't know. If I don't know, it doesn't make it to the page.
Sargento, you said? Like the cheese?
Argento.
Argento.
Like the cheese without the S.
Maybe I was thinking of the cheese when you said his name.
Cheese. It sounds very familiar.
I do like cheese. All right. Very nice.
Well,
I
how
look
about
forward
that?
to 114th best film and director next week.
I know that's a lie, but you'll get it. Hey, unless somebody wants to point me in the direction of some other list of something that might be interesting. Do you think there's a song like the 113th greatest song of all time?
I'm sure there is. If there's an internet, there's a list.
We should make one. Let's make a list.
Okay, the
And then we'll refer to
113th
it.
greatest song, the Macarena.
There are so many songs before you get to that one.
Yes, there are.
No, we'll just make a list of something. We'll put it out there on the internet just so we can report on it here and have something
I like
to talk
it.
about.
How was your week?
Oh, you want to start with me?
Sure.
That's all right.
All right.
How about you? It was good. It was St. Patrick's Day, right? We left. We recorded
yeah,
on
we
St.
left
Patrick's
and went,
Day. We
yeah.
left. You picked up some delicious Irish soda bread for me.
I did. It was very
which
lovely.
I demand that you tell everybody you loved. Go ahead.
It was good.
All right. I don't.
I
loved it,
mentioned
is
this
what-
to you the next day when I came in and you came to my desk. You were like, so? Tell me.
I drove to his house at midnight, knocked
When
on
you
the door.
described it,
You haven't texted me yet. Wait, I don't understand.
when you described it, I was thinking it was going to be like a sweet, like a dessert bread or something. But it's very dense, and it's a very mild bread. It was very lovely.
It's very mild.
Very mild.
So
bread.
there's this thing I was reading about. I'm going to New York next week, and there's a woman that runs an Irish restaurant that during COVID had to shut down, like everything in the world did, and so she, had all this food and everything that she couldn't use. So she was making food and giving it to people that needed it.
Oh, that's
and
nice.
a thing that she would make were these Irish soda bread scones with butter and homemade blackberry jam.
Ooh.
And they did a report on it on ABC. And her business skyrocketed. Like within a month, she had like $100,000 worth of orders
Scones.
and stuff like that. And so she made so much money on that. She opened a little scone shop, and all they sell, or so they say, or maybe the primary thing that they sell, are just these Irish soda bread scones with blackberry jam and butter. And I'm going to visit that store next week and get it because I'm a fan.
Very nice. Do you think you're gonna be standing in a long line?
I don't know. I hope not. I'll tell you what, if I am standing in a long line, I won't be able to report back on how good they are. Unless you can like Uber Eats it to the hotel. I'll do that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I just see on TikTok all the time. There's like these food trucks and these little eateries that get like TikTok famous from a specific thing that they make. And every time I see them now, there's lines. There's in somewhere in Great Britain. I'm not sure if it's Ireland or England or where it's at, but it's a potato food truck, and they have massive baked potatoes, and they cut them open and they put a bunch of stuff in them. It's Britain, so it's like beans and cow livers and shit. I don't know.
They put beans on everything.
They do. He just scoops baked butter and beans. It's like everybody just wants a butter and bean. But the line when he shows his truck is just down the block. And I was like, how good? I mean, they look tasty, but how good is a potato really that you would stand in a line for an hour and a half for it?
Yeah, you remember when Four Rivers first opened? Do you remember that? And it was really popular, and there were lines like wrapped around the building. I was like, I just waited.
Now there's a Four Rivers right around the corner from my house, and you could just walk in and get barbecue like that.
Yeah,
No lines.
now I'll go.
Yeah. You should.
It's like it took me 6 years to ride the Pandora ride at Animal Kingdom. Is that where it is? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the lines were always too long.
Yeah. I still haven't ridden it. That line is way too long all the time. As all rides are. When we go to Epcot and you see they got the little tickers out front of the different rides, they're always 45 minutes, an hour.
That's kind of long.
That's a long time to wait
if you're
for
with
anything.
a group of people, though, and you play heads up while you're in line, it goes real fast. Real annoying if you're not part of the group.
Yeah.
But it's nice.
Good times.
Yeah,
Good times. Do you do anything else?
Yeah. So that was Monday.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was Monday.
Then you and I did a thing on Wednesday.
Oh, we did. We did the Florida Film Festival preview, the trailer preview.
Do you want to talk about that?
Of course. I wrote notes.
Did you? Great. I noticed that you were, so I didn't really. So I had went back and looked up some things, but to cross-reference the sheets that we were given to what we watched would be a little difficult for me to then research, because I'm like, oh, I like the Boeing Yang movie. And then I was like, what was that? And then I couldn't tell by reading the list. I had to look it up. But the Wedding Banquet. I
will say, because there are, I did a list of movies I'm like excited to see. Some of them are queer, some are not. But I do just want to, if people are interested, it is going on April 11th through the 20th. Go to floridafilmfestival.com. They have the whole schedule up there. But there's something like 120 blah, blah, blah movies.
Yeah, there's a lot.
There's a lot of movies. But yes, the one that you mentioned, it's on my list too, that I want to see, The Wedding Banquet, which is a reimagining of a 1993 Ang Lee film, who directed Brokeback Mountain.
Oh.
And it stars Bowen Yang and Lily Gladstone from Killers of a Flower Moon. And it's basically a gay couple and a lesbian couple, and they exchange services with each other because one needs a green card marriage and the other couple wants to do IVF treatments.
Isn't that what every marriage is? Just an exchange of services.
But it looks really cute. It looks fun. I don't know her name, but the lady who won Best Supporting Actress during the COVID Oscars, I think she was in Minari. She's in this. She plays the grandmother.
Oh.
But it looks really,
it
really
looks
cute.
really good. Looks cute.
Another one, I don't know if you're a huge fan of David Cronenberg or body horror. He did The Fly in the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
He did Scanners. He's got a movie called The Shroud coming out. We saw a trailer for, which is people who find it difficult to say goodbye to their loved ones when they die. They can get them buried in this graveyard where there's a camera put in their casket so you can watch them decay. And it's supposed to be really trippy and crazy and all body horror, and it should be really interesting.
Hey, I mean, you could do that, or you can just go to therapy.
Yeah, sure. But are you going to get a cool video at the end of therapy?
I mean, what are you going to do at the end?
I haven't seen the movie yet, Chris.
Like, did he ask you that? Like,
he does that all the time. He asks me.
Like, what happens when the all decay is gone? I mean, does the camera still work?
I don't know.
And then what are you looking at? And then you feel empty.
I don't know.
I'm going to need to know more about this.
I will look into
Let
this
me
for
know.
you.
It doesn't look scary, though. It looks more suspenseful than scary.
It's more that body horror as opposed to, like, jump scares.
Well,
and stuff
because
like
it's
that.
like somebody, the whole point of it is that they're like, hey, this technology, somebody's going to steal this technology and use it for evil.
Yeah. And it's got Guy Pearce in it. I think this is the
Yeah.
one with Guy Pearce where he plays like a crazy kooky person. And I think he does something, and I don't know what happens, but it should be interesting.
Yeah.
But I like the whole vibe of it is really good. There's one called On Swift Horse, which has Will Powder and Jacob Elordi in it, and those two in there makes it gay enough for me to want to go see. But it's also listed in the list of the LGBTQ films on the website.
Well, because they sleep together.
Do they?
Yes.
I didn't see that on the trailer.
Yes, they did. They yeah, that's like the point of it, right? It's like they are
I
flirting
hope
with each other,
not, because
and then
I read the synopsis. I think they're brothers.
No? Really?
I think that's what I read.
Okay, well,
in
he
the
sleeps with
synopsis.
somebody. There's some guy that he's making out with. And then,
I'm scared, but I'm excited to see
And then
this
there's
movie.
the other end of it where the two girls are like kind of touching hands and like they're hitting it off, and it's kind of like they have these lives
Are
separate
you sure
from
you're not
each
thinking
other.
of The Wedding Banquet?
I'm sure. I'm sure.
I
What's
will
in
look
it?
back at it again. I'm pretty sure I read that they're brothers in it, which makes it, I mean, if the White Lotus does it, they can do it.
Has the White Lotus done it yet?
Spoiler alert, I'm not telling.
I mean, come on. I'm watching it anyway.
Are you going to
I
Yeah,
gotta-
stuff has happened.
I gotta tell you that I started watching White Lotus, and I don't remember a season of it that's been this boring.
It starts off
it's
real,
real slow.
dry and slow.
I do love that lady though. The
Parker Posey?
no, oh, she's great in this. Really, she's
Yeah.
great. The health lady.
Oh, yeah.
She's in Love, Simon. She plays the drama teacher in Love,
She's
Simon.
also in the first season.
I love everything that she does.
Let's see what else we got. Oh, The Surfer with Nicolas Cage and his son are harassed by a surfer gang. That looks like it's gonna be ridiculous, but it's ridiculous. Nicolas Cage is such a top tier.
I have to tell you that I have a deep aversion to Nicolas Cage, but
Why?
because he's like the male Laura Dern. No,
I know that's a negative to you. That is a positive for me.
okay. So tell me, what did you think of the movie Con Air?
I loved Con Air.
This is the last podcast we're doing. I cannot
Con Air
do
was an
I can't
amazing
do an
movie.
entertainment podcast with you if that's
Con
the take.
Air would have been his best movie that year if he had not also done Face Off.
Oh my god, the other worst movie.
Love those
How much
movies.
slow mo? That movie would be 10 minutes if they didn't do slow motion so much.
That's just John Woo's thing.
Also, I'm gonna take that bunny. Like, no. No.
Sometimes
No.
you just gotta have
It's
fun
not
at
a-
movies.
It's not even a. Well, yeah.
Not
it's not
everything
even
is
good.
Schindler's List. You don't have to learn something from every film.
You wouldn't know. You
I
haven't
wouldn't,
seen it.
and I still haven't watched it.
Con Air is a terrible movie.
I was actually planning on watching Schindler's List this weekend, but instead,
You caught a
I
Con Air
watched
marathon?
9 episodes of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I didn't have time.
How did you find the time to watch 8 episodes of the show we're going to talk about and 9 episodes of Buffy?
I didn't do much this weekend other than that. What else? Oh, The Legend of Ochi, which looks really cute. It's like an E.T. type movie with these orange monkey mogwai looking animals called Ochis, hence The Legend of Ochi.
What's this Jacob Elordi movie called?
On Swift Horses.
Okay. Thank you.
Do you want to pause and look that
No,
up?
I'm like, you keep going. I'm going to look it up.
Let's see. What else? Oh, did the Python hunt, which apparently is the thing they do down in the Everglades because they have pythons are an invasive species. So they have this huge festival where people just show up with their giant knives and hack up pythons
Oh, yeah.
for the Python hunt.
That looked.
So that should be fun. It's a nice Florida film.
They expect that to sell out.
Yeah. As most of the Florida films, I think. There was one where Queer Town got a shout out because Adrenaline Films has a movie out called The Sky Was on Fire about the Ukrainian ballet troupe.
Yeah.
And then Cuba, which is a Cuba, Q-U-B-A, is a documentary about the fight for marriage equality in Cuba, C-U-B-A. That looks kind of fun. There's a couple of the midnight shorts I was looking at that look like they'll be entertaining for me. I don't know. You're not much of a midnight shorts kind of guy or a midnight films kind of guy. Because they're usually the weird and twisted films. But there's
especially animated. Animated shorts are
I was
not
just
my
gonna say
thing.
the animated. There's one called Birth Controlled that looks trippy. Jesus 2, Make Me a Pizza. Rushmore looks really good. It's about this event that's being held that if you kill yourself and you die in the most original and eventful way, they'll put you on Rushmore. They'll carve your head in Rushmore. So these two guys, it's an animated film. These two guys are trying to off themselves in a very dramatic way so they get put on Rushmore. Skeeter, Stomach Bug, Stuck, Wake. These are just some of the titles of your midnight shorts. So
I thought you were just describing me the ways in which these people were trying to die to get on Rushmore. I want to interrupt real quick just to tell you that, I don't know the name that you said about this on Swift Horses film, but Jacob Elordi, who is not gay, but he stars in the queer romance film On Swift Horses, where he plays a gay character, Julius, who has a steamy relationship with Diego Calva's character, Henry.
Oh, Diego Calvas is not who I said. I said Will Poulter. So
Okay.
Will Poulter plays his brother, but he has sex. So that's a different character.
Not White Lotus 4.
I mean, we haven't seen the movie, so I'm not going to say no. And they're not my brothers. I wouldn't mind seeing those two go at it. So
all
yeah,
make-believe.
so Florida Film Festival is always a good time. Christina Ricci will be there.
She will.
So she'll be doing their spotlight, and they'll be watching her movie Now and Then from the 90s.
Yeah, I thought for sure it would be a Monster reference, but no.
No.
And then one thing I'm interested in seeing, I don't know how I feel about it though, because I'm a Disney fan.
You are.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't know it looking at my luggage, but I'm definitely a Disney fan. But there's a, I search through all of my things here to try to find it. There's a, what's the show?
Stolen Kingdom.
Stolen Kingdom, which is a documentary that some guys made about behind the scenes at Disney, and sort of there was this thing that happened. I remember this happening a few years back, where one of the animatronic things from a ride that has disappeared, that character was stolen from Disney property. And it was just really about these people that went behind the scenes in areas they weren't supposed to be and filmed them. And it turned into somebody stole this thing and they're trying to find out who did it.
Yeah, it looks really interesting. And that's their opening night film. So also they said we'll sell out quick.
Yes.
So make sure you get your tickets now at floridafilmfestival.com. They didn't sponsor us, but I thought I'd give them a shout out.
.com? Yeah.
Yep, .com.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not a nonprofit, I don't believe. So we did that.
So we
What
did
else
that.
you do?
For Friday night, I had a date night. I just want to point that out. Date nights are always fun.
Isn't that nice?
It was really nice. We went to our favorite restaurant, had a nice dinner. It's always nice to spend time with Dylan. And afterwards, we fixed my toilet, which is a perfect way to end the date night, right?
Love.
It's really, I mean, it was an ordeal. My toilet's been running for forever, and we tried changing little things here and there, but it was a bigger project than we had anticipated, and it's fixed.
Very nice. Very nice.
Do you want to know what I did on Saturday?
Of course.
Are you excited about this? Are you as excited as I was to do it?
I am more excited about this than hearing about your toilet.
What'd
you do on
I went
Saturday?
to Daytona.
Oh, that's right. That was this Saturday.
Yeah, well-
Now I want to hear more about your toilet.
Oh,
How was your birthday present?
it was fucking great. Excuse
Was
my
it?
language. It was really great. Anyway, we went to Daytona Beach. Jen, for my 50th birthday, had bought me tickets to go see Air Supply in concert. Now, usually we just catch them at Epcot, right?
Sure.
Where they play like 4 or 5 songs, the same 4 or 5 songs over and over for 2 days in 6 different shows.
That's a long concert.
But so then she bought me tickets to go see them, because when you go see them, they sing a lot more songs. They do sing a lot during their shows. They don't talk a lot. They sing a lot. And, it's just it's great because they sing like a wide variety of songs and they change from years to years and that kind of thing. So it was exciting to go see them.
Really quick. Sorry. Which do you prefer in concerts? That is just song, 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 song? Or do you like when they stop and tell you stories in between?
It really depends. I feel like if because this is their 50th anniversary tour, so if they were to talk about why they wrote the song or like what the song's about, I find that to be interesting.
Yeah.
But they don't have to. I saw, Elton John in concert, and he just sits there and just sings and sings and sings and sings and sings.
So you wouldn't be interested, to go to a JoJo Siwa concert and hear her interpretations of why she picked the song she picked?
I don't know who she is.
You don't know who JoJo Siwa is?
I wish I did. No, I'm not. I wouldn't. There was. You ever get asked like, "Hey, I've got free tickets to this thing. Do you want to go?"
All the time.
And like your immediate response is, "Never in a million years." Yeah, that's That's how I feel
That's
about
how
that.
you would respond if I had JoJo Siwa tickets for you
I
right
would rather
now.
have dinner with Laura Dern and deep dive in all of her characters, especially
I
Jurassic
will
Park.
never understand your hate of Laura Dern.
Do you know what I found out today?
love Laura Dern.
I found something out about Laura Dern today, which is why I keep bringing her up.
Go ahead.
Do you know that she was the blind girl in Mask? The movie about the kid with
Cher?
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I've seen that movie once, and it was back like in the 90s.
Yeah, me too. And then I saw a clip for it today for some reason because it was like, some TikTok video where they're like, bro, they thought he was wearing a mask. And I was like, what are they talking about? And so I watched it. I was like, oh, it's that.
I
Laura Dern.
have seen the Family Guy joke about the mask more than I have seen the mask.
It made me realize that she is a talent that goes back well beyond my knowledge of her. And so when, the one thing I didn't understand.
She's what they call nowadays a Nepo baby.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Her dad is Bruce Dern, the actor. Did you ever see The Burbs with Tom Hanks?
I think so.
His neighbor, the one bald with the white crazy hair, I believe that was Bruce Dern.
Oh, okay.
He was also in the film Nebraska, which came out a few years ago. Really good.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
You didn't see? Oh, you should see that. It's pretty good. I think June Squibb's in that too. June
Was it
Squibb's
Con Air good or was it like
It's black
actually
and white,
good?
so it's like Schindler's List good.
It's always great to say
My
Schindler's
apologies.
List and burst out in the laughter.
My apologies to the Jewish community for that.
Yeah. So before we went to the concert, that we went to eat at a restaurant, and I'm not going to say their name because I'm going to just say some things about it that might be somewhat disparaging.
Okay.
I will point out that the food was delicious. It was really, really good food. Like sometimes you want like
You don't have to say the restaurant, but I want to whittle it down. Did you go to eat in Daytona or did you
Yes.
go to eat in Orlando?
Daytona.
Okay.
yeah. Now
What did you eat?
I had a turkey burger
I know exactly
with
where
a
you went.
side salad. But I almost ordered like a real burger, but I'm always afraid they're going to be too greasy because I don't eat a lot of greasy foods now.
Yeah.
So I just,
Slip right through you.
but they, it was good. So we walked in and the person that was seating us and then the person who took us to the table never made eye contact. Just didn't look at us. It was the weirdest thing. And then the lady who wanted us to order, like we were there like an hour and a half before the show, so we were ready to just chill, and take some time. And she was like, she goes, "Do you know what you want to drink?" And we're like, "Sure." And then she goes, "Do you know what you want to order?" And we're like, "We're gonna need a minute." So she 2 minutes ago, she brings the drink back. She goes, "Okay, would you like to order now?" I was like, "No." Let's start with an appetizer. And she goes, okay. And then she just kept coming back over
Do you think
and over.
before you all walked in, the boss is like, listen, y'all, it's been real slow. If we don't have anybody in here in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to let you all go home. And then you two walked in and they're like, damn it.
I want to say this. It's spring break. And it was Daytona.
Maybe they thought you were just some crazy kids who were going to dine and dash.
Okay, no one looking at Jen and I. The word kid doesn't come to mind when anyone looks at Jen and I. It was dead. Like there was no one around in Daytona Beach.
Well,
anywhere.
In Daytona, they have made a conscious effort, I would say, over the last 15, 20 years, to tell spring breakers, do not come to Daytona. We do not
They
want
should spend more time telling pedophiles to stay away from Daytona.
That's true.
Anyway, so it's just really weird. And when you think about, I don't know, this is so bad to say, but let's just say I know somebody in my life, when I told them where I was going, they said, "Oh, so you're going to Dirtona." And it made me laugh. People call Orlando, and that makes me laugh too. But it was everything that my experience was everything this person would have thought it was. I mean, it was real haggard looking. Everything was. But the food was really good, so can't complain about that. But then we went to the show. And let me tell you, I've legit had the time of my life. It's insane how much I loved being there and loved the show. I spent so much money because there were shirts that I wanted. And then I was like, oh, I really like this shirt, so I'm going to get that one. But then there was a shirt that had the 50th anniversary tour on it, so I had to have that one too. And then I had to buy Jen the same one because she wanted it. But then they had a shirt. And now, look, it's a female. It's a ladies' cut. And so it won't look good on me, but it didn't stop me from getting it. And it said, this girl loves her Air Supply, so I had to buy it. And
course
I
you
will
did.
wear it.
Yeah.
Probably to the next concert I'm going to on April 13th. But on this merchandise table is this acoustic guitar. That's a black acoustic guitar, and written in blue are their autographs. I could care less about autographs. I just never have cared about any of it. But for some reason, I was obsessed with this guitar, and I'm like, I should get it. And then I was like, nah, I'm not going to get it. What a waste of money. You know, like, it's a lot of money. I don't want to do it.
How much was it?
It was $500.
That's not bad.
So I was like, man, I don't know. And then the lady in front of me in line turned around and she was like, what do you mean you don't know? She's like, if you don't get this guitar, you're going to be so mad at yourself because you really like it. You should get it. And then I'm like, Jen? And she's like, well, you know, I'm not going to talk you out of it. So I was like, screw it. So
Do you own a guitar?
I now own a guitar that has their signatures on it, and I love it. You know, but I bought it because it was on the thing, and I was like, oh, it's the only one. I'm going to get that. And then they were like, okay, let's put it in a box. They put it in a box. They wrote my name on it, and she's like, you have another one? He's like, yeah, here. I was like, well, that's lame. But I do know that they just signed them that day. So there were
cool.
like 2 or 3 of them, and I saw somebody else had bought one, but it was kind of cool. So then we're watching the show, and at some point during the show, he said,
if you bought a guitar, get on up here.
It crossed my mind. Yeah, I'm surprised if he said, if you bought a guitar, that thing's $80. Which I did look up the cost of that guitar. I had to.
You can't put a price on that kind of thing, though.
That's
true.
true.
They did, but
yeah. So we're up there, and he says, you know, thanks for being here and for being fans forever, you know, with us for the 5 decades we've been together. And then said that they had part of their 50th anniversary tour, like their big 50th anniversary show, is going to be at Carnegie Hall on May 13th. So
you bought tickets.
you know, I pulled my phone out and I started looking at the tickets. Do you know how much it costs? I'm taking all guesses here, so anybody can guess. How much a ticket from the 3rd row at Carnegie Hall to see Air Supply is?
3rd row from the stage?
Yeah.
I will say $750 a ticket.
Yeah.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
It surprised me. But if you go back to rowettes, they're only $150. So, you know, but then it's like I have to buy 2 tickets, and then I got to buy 2 plane tickets at a hotel. So basically it would have cost $1,000 to go there and see them, which I wish is information that I had before I spent $800 at their merchandise shop.
Yeah.
So if I hadn't have spent all that money, I would have bought the tickets. But I was like, I'll sleep on it, and if I still want it tomorrow, I'll go. You know what? I'm probably gonna go and buy the tickets.
Yeah. Did you go home and put your "This Girl Is an Air Supply Fan" shirt on and climb into bed and strum your guitar as you thought about how wonderful the concert was?
I can't say that I did.
All right. I guess you're not a real fan.
But I will tonight. No, but I tell you what, I've been listening. There were songs they sang that I forgot that they ever sang, so I've been listening to them.
I mean, you've been making music for 50 years. I mean, there's bound to be some songs that they probably forgot that they wrote.
Huge fan.
Very nice.
Last thing I'll talk about that I did, because I mean, this is my PSA to everyone. On Saturday, I had a doctor's appointment, and and I'm 50 now, and so he's like, "Oh, yeah, you're 50. Let's just check and see if you're up on all your vaccines." And as someone who was 35 years old and got shingles, I'm aware that I don't have the shingles vaccine, and I'm like, as soon as they tell me to get it, I'm going to get it.
Yeah.
And so he brought up, he's like, "Well, you're 50 now. You can get the shingles vaccine." So I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." So then he tells me after they've ordered it and it's on its way, he's like, people complain. I'm just going to tell you, take Tylenol right away, and that'll help with the pain because people say that it hurts. And I was thinking, how bad can it hurt? Because, I get I've gotten all the vaccines and stuff, and I never have any reactions, and other people have terrible reactions. And I was like, I'll be fine. I was not fine. I was not okay. I got up the next morning, and my arm was sore. But I had a couple softball games, and when I got back from those softball games, I was dead to the world. And then weirdly, we were watching this show and on the show that we had to watch for this, and they kept showing Shingrix commercials. And every time it would come on, I was like, yeah, all the symptoms that they were saying that it could cause, like headaches, nausea, fever, chills, muscle pain, all of that. Like I was dead on that couch. My entire body ached. I was shaking, but I felt really warm. It was very terrible. But
how long did that last?
what time is it? No, like I felt okay this morning. Like I slept. I went to bed early and I slept. I didn't even set an alarm. I was like, I don't care. I'll get up whenever I get up. So I feel better today. So it wasn't really that long. And from having had shingles, I will tell you that I would go through 4 days of this.
Yeah.
Without, rather than get shingles again, because it's awful. Shingles is something terrible.
I've heard my sister had shingles and she did not enjoy it.
Yeah, there is not one thing. Now, maybe it's changed because this was 15 years ago. Maybe something's changed, but there's nothing they could do for it. They gave me a tube of lidocaine and said, good luck. It'll go away in a couple of weeks. and at least I had it on my shoulder and like a little small patch. But, I've seen people that have like it comes over their shoulder and goes across their chest or terrible that people get it on their face.
Their face, you can lose your vision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's some painful stuff. It's like a cold sore. But it's like because that's what it is. I mean, it's blistery. And so it's like, but imagine having cold sores all over your, kind of a whole strip on your body. That's terrible.
I am due up for a shingles vaccine. I actually had a couple of vaccines done last week. And I'm like you. I'm like, I never have any issues with vaccines. And they're like, well, you need your updated COVID, you need the new pneumonia vaccine, and then you need your shingles. And I was like, load me up. And she's like, we're going to give you pneumonia and COVID vaccine right now, and we're going to wait on shingles. And she goes, trust me, pneumonia and shingles are not. She goes, some people have a lot of issues with them as far as soreness and pain and getting, just kind of conked out for a day. So I was like, okay. So they give me both. She went in on my left because she said, what's your dominant arm? Sweetest, I go to the VA. Sweetest, I love my nurse. She is an older Jamaican woman, and she calls me baby, and she called me young man, and I laughed, and I was like, I'm not that young. And she goes, oh, baby, you're very young. And I was like, I love you so much. So she goes, what's your dominant arm? So I was like, right. So she goes, we're going to put them both in the left arm. And when I was in the service, I had the smallpox vaccine. So I've got that little circle when you get the vaccine, you've got that little circle. She put the shot right into both of them, right into the smallpox scar, like it was a target.
She thought that's what it meant.
She's
this
like,
is where I want it.
And she did the COVID perfectly fine. It's like my 400th COVID vaccine, so I'm used to those. And then she did the pneumonia. And when she pushed it in and it went in, you could feel it stinging as it was going in. And I was like, oh, God, that hurt going in. And she goes, give it a day. And I went home and it was getting a little sore. I woke up the next day and I could not lift my arm up. It was painful. Yeah. And it sucked. And I was like, oh, thank God she didn't give me the shingles vaccine also.
Yeah, it's something awful. It hurt. The shingles one hurt going into. It just like, when she did that, I thought, wow, this is not going to be good. I can tell something's going to happen with this.
But the short-term uncomfortability of the vaccine outweighs what will happen. What will outweigh what happens when, if and when something bad does happen.
Well, I'm glad that you like your VA person. I hope they don't get fired.
Yeah, so far so good. She's doing okay.
Do anything else?
Let's see, what else did I do? I'm getting ready to go on a cruise. So it was kind of just getting things prepped up for the cruise. I wanted to make sure I got the vaccines because Lord knows that people on that boat probably going to have COVID and pneumonia and Lord knows what else.
They 100% will.
So I want to make sure I was nice and vaccinated. Just getting stuff ready for the cruise. And then I had my dental appointment for my teeth cleaning. And I get there and they do the cleaning and the x-rays. And then they're like, the dentist is out for the week, so he'll take a look at your x-rays when he gets back. And I was like, if I make a dentist appointment with the dentist to see the dentist, make sure he's there that day. I'm not going to gripe too much because I really like my dentist. But every time I get a notification that you got an appointment, there's always a little thing on there that if you don't tell us within 48 hours that you need to cancel the appointment, we're going to charge you $50. And he didn't show up, so I expect $50.
Send a bill.
I'm going to send a bill. Now, I did.
They'll just say we'll use it towards we'll credit for the last time that you didn't show up.
Oh yeah, that was their fault because they were. I'm not going to get into it because I like my dentist.
Sure, I go to the same dentist and I like them too, but it's not a love relationship. I wish it worked both ways. Like you just said, it's sort of like my time is valuable, your time is valuable. Let's all agree to do what we're supposed to do. But they can call you the morning of your appointment and move it, and there's no penalties. But you do something.
Like, don't you understand? He's going through a lot right now. Have you met the new dentist over there? Because they brought a new dentist on board with Dr. Sutton.
No.
Oh,
is he equally as dapper?
Oh, he's very pretty. He's a pretty. In fact, because I have a little crack in one of my fillings, so she's like, "We should probably get you scheduled." And she was pulling up the schedule, and she goes, "Does it have to be with Dr. Sutton?" And I was like, "No, it doesn't have to be."
I'd rather it wasn't.
You can have the other guy look at me too. Oh no, if Sutton wants to look at me, I'm fine with that.
I don't.
Anybody over there, as far as the two dentists who want to put their fingers in my mouth, I'm cool with.
You have an outgoing personality.
Thank you.
You're like, I think that people like gravitate towards you. Like you're out in public and you're fun and
people come up to me all the time. They want like photos and autographs. It's so annoying.
They must be fans of the show. But it's
like, where's Rick?
It's interesting because I'm kind of the opposite, and I don't think I mean to be, but it's just something.
You think you're off-putting?
I don't mean to be. I just think that there's something like I'm not approachable. So like if we're walking down a street, somebody might go up to somebody else and ask them for money, but they don't come up to me. And I'll even make eye contact with people and they won't come up to me.
I see exactly what you're meaning. Everybody asks me for money on the street.
So people just don't tend to do that, which and so also I thought of this because you were talking about like the dentist, and I was like, it doesn't matter if the dentist is hot or not. When he comes in there, he's gonna have his mask on. He's gonna talk to me for 2 seconds and leave because I answer questions real quickly.
He wears a mask with you?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
See, I'm so unapproachable that they hide behind a mask. So
turn your face away. Don't look at me.
And like Dylan will go to the dentist and he'll come back and he's like Instagram friends with his hygienist, and they talk about their dogs, and they have this whole I don't know anything about my hygienist. I sit there and I watch The Office while she cleans my teeth, and I yell at her about the fluoride, and then the dentist comes in and he's like, anything you want to talk about? And I'm like, no.
You don't get the fluoride? They're pulling it out of our water. You need to get it now.
Well, in fact, what I said last time, I said, well, it's in the water. What do I care? Not that I drink tap water. I filter it anyway.
No, but a little bit gets in with every shower.
Yeah, I don't filter the hose, so I'm good.
There you go.
I'm an 80s kid. What can you say? It's the best water I've ever had. So, anyway, I mentioned that too because on Monday I went to this meeting that I go to on Monday nights, and where people sit in a circle and they share stories about their lives, but we anonymously don't tell people that we're there. And so I was talking about something, and afterwards, and I met up with Jen to have dinner afterwards, and I said, I think I said something wrong, or I did something wrong at the meeting. And when it was my turn to share, and she's like, why? And I was like, well, I was talking, and as a couple people laughed and all that kind of stuff. But afterwards, somebody came up to me and talked to me. I think they think I'm approachable. So I must have said something terrible that made me seem approachable. And
Open yourself to it.
And we laughed. But yeah, I just am not that. Yeah. I don't mind.
I guess I just put a happy energy out there, but like at the grocery store, old women will always ask me to get things off the shelf for them.
Oh, you're
and
tall.
There's that also, but there'll be taller people around, and they'll pass them up and be like, "Oh, can you help me real quick?" And it's like, I guess I just give off unthreatening energy.
Do you know who talks to me in public? Angry people in a line. That's who will talk to me. That's the kind of energy I give off. Like I'm going to be on their side.
As somebody who's been angry in public, sometimes you're just looking for backup. So you just look around, you're like, hey, you, and you.
Where was I?
We're mad now, aren't we?
I was in DC, and Dylan and I went to this ice cream place, and there was this huge line. I mean, this must be the most popular ice cream place in DC. And they had this sign on the door, and it says like, you get 2 scoops for the price of 1 or something like that. Or you get like a $2 scoop of ice cream. It was some ridiculous. I didn't look at the menu to realize that 1 scoop of ice cream is normally like $12 at this place. So like getting the 1 scoop for $2 or $3 or whatever it was a steal. But everybody in line kept asking for that deal. And so finally the manager made an announcement that was like, hey, everybody, if you look at the sign on the door, that deal is not until, an hour from now. So right now it's the regular price. And there was this guy who was so mad about that. He was so mad. I guess you can't guess what race he was. He was so angry and just an old white guy.
Oh, okay.
Just super angry and was so mad about the way that the world was hurting him.
Oh, and you were another angry white guy,
yes.
Old white guy. So he's like, oh, my people.
Or he just said like, what's funny is that there was this young black guy in front of me, and so this guy was in front of him, and the guy turned around to his left, and he saw him, and he turned around to his right and saw
You're
me,
not
and then,
supportive
and then
of me.
started talking to me, and
There
I was
you
like,
are.
hey man, I'm not on your side here. Like I almost offered. It was so uncomfortable. He was like yelling at the manager and just screaming how much bullshit this was, like cussing and screaming, and like I almost was like, you know what, if you'll be quiet, I'll just buy you the ice cream. And but
That was awfully nice of
he
you.
ended up leaving, but in a big fit. Oh, so uncomfortable and weird. But that's who talks to me in line.
Yeah, I see those TikToks with people venting and screaming and yelling in line in public, and I was like, back in the day, someone would have turned around and just belted them in the face to make them shut up. And I think people don't do that nowadays because everybody has cameras. They're like, oh, they're pulling them out. But if everybody would just keep their cameras in their pockets, some brave soul will turn around and deck them in the face to shut them up, and we'll all go about our
There should be a signal.
Yeah.
Like, hey, cameras down.
like, meh, meh. Well, maybe not that. Like he screamed, like, sir. maybe the Ross lower your
This guy
phones.
makes me want to fight. Can somebody blow me? And then maybe
I'm so angry right now. Let's go. But yeah, I can't watch those videos, particularly at night, because they keep me up.
Oh, I get so angry.
I get so angry and I can't sleep, and then I just look for more to build up more anger.
I just watched the video where some British Karen was screaming at her neighbor for filming her. And she's like, you can't film me. It's copyrighted. I was like, oh my God. So smart. Anyway, what else did you do?
Nothing else. The only other thing that happened as I was recovering from my vaccines and watching TV is I started getting a sty in my eye.
Oh,
So I got a nice little swollen lid here. And my I put a warm compress on it last night and then did it this morning. And then while I was getting ready for work, I pulled down the eye to see if I could see if it was getting a little head on it. And when I pulled down, the little white pus started to bubble up. And I was like, okay, it's open.
Blech.
It's oozing.
Look what you're doing to Louise.
So hopefully, because I don't want to look like Quasimodo when I go on the cruise. You know, looking for a Jack Dawson while I'm on the boat. And nobody ain't going to Jack Dawson me if I've got a bulging eyeball.
If Titanic is your only reference for what it's like to cruise, there are 2 things that are very unlikely to happen.
Okay.
One is that you're going to meet Jack Dawson
Oh.
and find your way into the lower decks dancing the Irish jig. And 2, it's not going to hit an iceberg.
True. My only other water movie is Jaws, and I don't want to think of that one.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like that's the most likely of the 2 to happen.
It's more like Waterworld.
Ugh.
You ever watch The Love Boat?
I ain't drinking my pee.
It could be like the Love Boat.
I did. I remember the Love Boat. Yeah, that was a cute show. That was nice. Anyway, that was my life. My mother and brother and sister are flying in on Wednesday, and then so I'll pick them up from the airport, and then we'll have dinner, and then go to bed because we have to be up bright and early because they paid for the early boarding. I think is what they. I don't know.
What are you on?
First,
What are you? Is it Royal
MSC.
Oh, okay.
Battle of the Queens. I don't know what the name of the boat is.
It'll be Queen of the Sea when you're on it.
Yes, it will. I think Queen is in the name, but don't quote me on that because I may be making that up. But it's an MSC cruise. It's to the Bahamas. It's a quick, short 4-day cruise. It's my first one. So I was like, I'm not a boat person. So I was like, if it sucks, I don't want to be out there for 10 days. Turn around, come back. If it sucks so bad, when we land in the Bahamas, I'm getting a flight and I'm coming home that way.
I feel like I think you're gonna like it.
Yeah. Everybody seems to think I will.
But you like people to take care of you.
I do like people to take care of me.
And that is
You're
what
right.
a cruise is about. Is that I've not been on an MSC cruise, so I can't speak to them. But on the cruises I've been on, the staff is really accommodating.
Yeah.
They take care of you. Your bed will get made like 3 times a day. Everything you need will be wherever you need it. And so they do a good job of that. You're not gonna like the size of the shower, but other than that, you're gonna like everything else.
Have a full-size bathtub. They splurged. They did a
I didn't realize that a cruise came with a full
cabin
size
room or a
bathtub.
state room. Or there's a special room we did because it's for my mother. She had the surgery or open heart surgery. So this is her. We're celebrating her still being alive. So my brother and sister paid a little extra and did the splurge. So we've got a big cabin that has like a living room and stuff, and it has a bathtub, which was a big selling point for when you pull up the itinerary. It's like, by the way, your room has a balcony and a bathtub. Ooh.
Does it have jets in it?
Like football players, I hope. God, I hope they splurged for
with
that.
your luck, it'll be Joe Namath today.
Ugh. I think he's dead, isn't
Is he?
I hope it's not Joe Namath today.
I said what I said.
But no, yeah, we got a bathtub and a balcony, and it should be fun. It should be a good time. We've got a spa package we're gonna go do and all kind of good stuff.
And when we talk next week, you'll tell us all about it.
Oh yeah, it'll be much more eventful than this week. Fewer styes, more guys.
It doesn't look bad. I mean, you can hardly tell.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm also blind. So.
It started draining today, so it's smaller than what it was last night when I went to bed. So, but yeah, so that's about it. Just prepping in more ways than one. God. I mean, I've already got it, but I'm still taking prep for this boat.
All right, so let's talk TV.
TV.
We haven't done TV in a while,
We haven't done
right?
a show in a while, I don't think. Yeah. No. Yeah.
It's because when we decided to do a show, we're like, well, we have to do the whole show.
Yeah.
So we had to watch 8 episodes.
I mean, we should, and this will be a conversation we'll have off the air, but maybe we should talk about like doing like the first couple of episodes and then be like, oh, this is what they were like. And then people will be like, oh, I should go check that show out. And then they watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
Without us spoiling it, like we do with movies. But there was a nice shortened show, a nice 30-minute show. They don't do those very often anymore.
No, and one thing I will say about this show, I think you can tell right off the bat, right? Yeah. What kind of show you're going to be watching. It's very sitcom-y. Very
sick. In fact, I made a note. Where's the studio audience? This is definitely, I feel like when it was written to be like,
yeah, I think that's why
a standard sitcom.
At the very beginning, before the show starts, they put up a quote from Norman Lear.
Yeah.
And I think that this is sort of in the vein of Norman Lear's.
Well, he was one of the executive producers of the show.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Oh,
this
well,
was
then
like
that's
the
why.
last show he worked on before he died.
I wrote, the first comment I wrote is like, why are they doing a shout out to Norman Lear?
Oh, yeah. This was the last show he did before he died.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So
that
he was the
makes total
executive
sense.
producer on this. But I wrote a couple of things down just within the first couple of minutes that I was like, this is where the laugh track would be. This is where the laugh track, because it is written like a sitcom with a laugh track. When they're talking to who turns out to be Opal, but I wrote sassy little girl. When he goes, you're coming for Oprah, and she said, Oprah, I'm coming for Bezos.
The way that you rolled your eyes there makes me think that maybe you didn't find that as funny as you thought
I didn't
the
find
audience
any of
would have.
these funnies. Funny. So then he says, how long has it been since you seen your son? He goes, let's see, July, August, 23 years. Last one. Oh, no, wait, I got 2 more. When the neighbor goes, I thought you had a son. So did I. If it's not broke, don't fix it. That's broke. I gotta fix it. Anyway, that's my sitcom laugh.
Every one of those instances, I laughed.
I bet you did. Right on cue.
In fact, I wrote down.
Did we even mention what show it is? Clean Slate.
Clean Slate.
We were talking about the show Clean Slate.
With Laverne Cox.
Yes, and George Wallace.
Yes.
The comedian, not the director of the LGBT Center here in Orlando.
Right. Was it also a politician's name?
Yes, a racist guy back in the 60s.
He definitely had nothing to do with this.
Yeah, no.
So George Wallace cracks me up.
I love George Wallace. Also, I didn't realize until this show that man is 6'4" and 300 pounds. He is a massive man.
Yeah. When in fact, I wrote notes down of like things that were funny or cutesy for the first couple of episodes, and then from episodes 3 through 8, all I wrote down were things he said that I liked.
Yeah,
because he cracks me up.
I will say right off the bat, I did not like this show when it started. It was very cheesy and smulchy. I don't know.
I don't know what word you're going for.
There's a word there.
Yeah, tap into that 3% Jewish that you are and come up with that word.
And the whole sitcom-iness of it was just kind of like eye rolling. And then as the show gets on, it starts to kind of find its footing and it gets better. And then it just falls off on the last episode for me. But so they live in Mobile, Alabama. He hasn't talked to his daughter in 23 years. I wrote that down. And his daughter, Desiree, is played by Laverne Cox. She is transgender in real life and in the show. And her life falls apart in New York City, so she moves back home to kind of find her center.
Right. Without telling anyone.
Without telling her dad that she transitioned.
Right. The only person that she did tell was
her best friend, Lewis.
Yes. who is the choir director. Not a stereotype at all, right? He's the choir director of a church who's gay.
Yeah, closeted gay.
Yes,
but
like I said, not a stereotype at all.
Where every time he was like, I am not out. And I was like, girl, we all know. You ain't got to hide nothing. They all know.
Yeah. I will say that I mean, for what it is, I enjoyed it from the start. Because it's just it was this sort of lighthearted sitcom-y thing I didn't find it too annoying. I will say the only thing that made me roll my eyes was the little girl in it. Yeah,
she's very stereotype sitcom, sassy.
Yeah. Like,
I take care of my dad.
I've had a rough life, so I'm a 30-year-old, 11-year-old, and I'm going to prove that I'm better than everybody. I don't know. It's just weird. I mean, they all kind of fall into those stereotypes. Like, Laverne Cox or Desiree is this vegetarian, Buddha practicing, I go to therapy and I eat only clean foods and I have to meditate and I have when I get all worked up, I have these things my therapist gave me to work through when I, zen myself, kind of, stereotypical progressive liberal, which is obnoxious. And Lewis is very much a stereotype, as you mentioned. Harry, who is her dad, and then Elle, who is Lewis's mother, are the only two characters right off the bat that I absolutely loved. I was like, I would watch a show of just you. Lewis's mother is fantastic.
Yes.
That is Thelma Hopkins.
Yes.
Who was
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying she's from Family Matters.
Yeah, she's in Family Matters, but she's also like she's been in a lot of sitcoms. So she was in Give Me a Break and Bosom Buddies from back in the olden days of television. So she was really great. There was something I was going to say about all of that. I will always remember her as the aunt from
Family Matters, and I loved her. And when I saw her, I was like, she's just one of those people who I didn't know was still alive, and I was super excited to see that she was still alive.
I do like too that, as left, or I guess is like, what do you want to say? I don't want to say things that upset people because I don't mean this as a dig.
Sure.
I'm just saying, as leftists or like woke liberal that this character is, that Desiree is, her father is sort of like the opposite of that, but not in a hateful way.
No.
In
fact, one of the things I appreciated was how, right off the bat, how open and accepting he was. Like, he was more offended that she was a vegetarian than that she was trans.
Yeah, and so it's sort of like no, you can't have meatless wings. The wings have to have meat. Like, this whole sort of thing. And so it was interesting how, like, throughout the episodes, they sort of mellowed each other's extremisms, and I appreciated that.
Yeah, I dug that too. So just to finish up the characters, Harry owns and operates a car wash, one of those big car washes, and he has an employee, Mac, who has a daughter, Opal, and Mac was in prison. And he got out, and they don't really mention, just that her mother took off. They don't really talk much about her mother, but her mother took off, and he's now raising her Opal by himself.
He is actually, that's Jay Wilkinson. I
don't know her.
No one does, and I'm going to give this really obscure reference to it. This sounds like something that Ryan would write an article about him for a Tampa Bay A&E.
Was he the fourth understudy of Timon in The Lion King on Broadway?
You are closer than you think. In 2008, they made a film of Rent, but it was the Broadway production of it that they filmed in 2008.
And he's in that.
And he was an ensemble member of that.
Oh, ensemble.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Good
the guy,
for you.
the TV show Smash. The one that
Yes.
Megan Hilty was in.
Yes, I love that show.
The guy that plays he was married, who was he was the lead in the musical within the musical.
Which one? Hot List or Bombshell?
Bombshell, I think.
Okay.
Anyway,
Is that him?
No.
Oh.
But he plays Roger in this version of Rent. I just wanted to try to relate it to something you might know.
Gotcha.
Didn't work, did it?
So he's done nothing. He's lovely in this.
No, he's still just that guy. He's
that
been in
guy.
other things, but I didn't recognize any of them.
And then the only other character I believe that is a reoccurring, and he's more reoccurring later in the season, is Miguel, who is Harry's neighbor, and they do not like each other.
No.
Yep.
The impression in the first couple of episodes is that his neighbor is like a pro-bass loving right-wing.
Yeah, conservative. Well, you find out he's not a conservative. He's a libertarian. He loves conspiracy theory kind of stuff, is what it seems like. He also loves Dungeons and Dragons, which is cool. Hey, don't laugh at that. That is cool.
It's Con Air cool.
God, those nerds are gonna line up outside against you.
Yeah, maybe they were like, if you play Dungeons and Dragons, you might be more approachable.
They're all going to approach me and be like, would you talk to him? So that's kind of the setup. I don't know if you want to go through this episode by episode and just kind of talk about the overall story.
Talk about the overall thing, and then maybe I'll throw out a couple of quotes from the...
So I do want to talk a little more about the first episode because I thought there were some interesting things in there. So Desiree shows up. What are you laughing at?
I'm already laughing at something. Yeah, we'll get there.
Okay.
When they get to the store and the little sassy girl first starts talking. And
in the very beginning?
Yeah.
I think I skipped over that part when I was just doing the introductions.
When they're talking about something about being an employee, and the little girl is like, "I'm an employee."
Oh, and he's like, "No, you're an intern."
Because you're a child. You're not working. You're interning. That made me laugh. No offense, intern. It's just people who own companies like to not pay.
So like I said, Desiree's that typical New York liberal. She's trying to, what do they call that? Smudging? Where she's trying to air the bad energy out of the house, and she ends up setting the smoke alarms off. That's when he says he's going to get chicken wings for dinner, and she's like, I'm a vegetarian.
I don't want to say I identify with the father in every episode of this, but if I go home sometime and Dylan or Jen in either house are doing that in the house, I will immediately leave.
Do they both do that in the house?
No, but if they did, you know what? Somebody did that. We had an employee
who did it here.
That was like, we had an employee that worked here that was real toxic. And when they left, somebody went around and burned sage And I was like, what? I was like, I'm about to do the opposite of what Sage is supposed to do. I was like, open every window, get rid of that. Like, I just don't like the smell.
Yeah, I understand. I love the taste of sage.
Also,
And a stuffing.
convince me it works. Did everything change? Everything was fine after that. No.
Yeah. Anyway, so Desiree's therapist wants Desiree to tell Harry to write a letter to his 10-year-old daughter. Since Harry didn't know Desiree as Desiree's authentic self, he wants her, the therapist wants Harry to write a letter as if he was writing it to 10-year-old Desiree. So Desiree goes to bed. He wakes up to her smudging the kitchen, and she's very combative. And this part I kind of identify because I think particularly liberals are so beat down by the conservative right that whenever somebody from the other side tries to talk to you, you automatically feel like, okay, I'm getting defensive. As soon as you say your shit, I'm going to throw it back at you, which is how she kind of is in this first episode. Everything he goes to say, she's ready to throw it back at him. And then he says something that she's like, oh, well, that's actually very kind of you to say. And he's like, I wrote the letter for you. And she's like, what? And he's like, you asked me to write a letter to 10-year-old you. I wrote a letter. So he gives her the letter and it says, Dear Des, I'll be home at 6. There's bologna in the fridge. Which I thought was hilarious. And I love that he put Dear Des on it. And there's throughout the course of the season, there's a pronoun jar. And every time he misgenders Desiree using the wrong name or wrong pronouns, he has to put $5 in the jar. And then by the end of the season, she ends up taking that money and buying him a brand new TV because there's so much money in the jar. But even from the beginning, he's trying. And he's like, he puts her name on the letter instead of her dead name. Ella, we mentioned, is Louise's mother, talks to Harry saying that he needs to be more open and listen to what Desiree is saying. Because, they had argued, and then Desiree was like, screw this, I'm leaving.
Well, I just want to point out that she came on a little strong.
That's what I'm saying. She instantly puts her defenses up thinking you're coming at me.
Well, but also like the way that you do everything, I've been out of your life for 23 years. Here I am. Now we're going to do everything my way. And I think it was just like, I'm being nice by doing all this stuff for you and showing you this better way to do things according to me, but without asking and then getting mad when you don't like it. So one of the lines that I liked was when she said, I made you matcha. And he said, the only green thing going down my throat is a Shamrock Shake from McDonald's. God, I love that man. So they got into a fight because when he gave her that letter, she was mad that he didn't take it seriously. And she said, I don't even know why I'm here. And then as nice as it was that he correctly gendered her in the letter, then he purposefully dead named her. And she stormed out. Yes.
And then she decided she was leaving, and she goes to the bus stop. So after talking with Elle, he's, decides he wants to work on this relationship.
He first goes and talks to Mac at the car wash, at which point Mac says, well, it just made me laugh because they're sitting there talking, and Mac says, what I learned when I was in prison?
Oh, yes. And he goes, you were what?
He goes, you were what? He goes, for another day. He's like, no, you don't just drop that you were in prison. How long have we known each other? So he gives him advice saying, you got to love your family. You got to tell your child that you care and you deal with it. So then he goes to Ella's. And she says, basically, you need to take care of your child. Yeah. She's leaving town. You need to go take care of
her. So he runs the bus station. And he does that thing that they do at the end of romantic comedies where he pushes through security, but he's like a 60-something-year-old man. So I don't know how these people couldn't take him, but he's like, they're rolling over.
It was so absurd that security couldn't stop him from getting to the bus. But it was funny.
So he gets out there and he's banging on the window. And going back, Desiree, one of the things she had said to Harry, or when she was talking to Lewis, said, I want him to, he didn't fight for me when I was a kid. And then she had mentioned it to Harry that she used to get picked on, and that he just all she wanted was him to fight for her. So she's on the bus and he comes over and he's banging on the window and he's like, my daughter is Desiree. I don't want her to go. And one of the ladies is like, who is that crazy man? She's like, that's my dad. He's fighting for me.
Which is cute because the whole show she had said, you know, my life would have turned out so different when I was a teenager if you had fought for me.
Yeah.
And you didn't. And so then he was fighting for her now.
Yeah. So then she gets off the bus, starts hitting the security guard with her purse. And then cut to commercial. Do you have a commercial-free Prime or do you have commercials on your Prime?
I have commercial free, but I got commercials for this for some reason.
Oh, yeah. I had commercials on this. Now, I don't know if you're aware of this because I looked into this because my brother didn't have commercial. He had commercial free Prime. When they switched over to an ad-based one, unlike all the other services where they were like, hey, we have an ad-based service if you want it, Prime gave everybody ad-based services, and you had to upgrade it if you wanted to. Oh,
so maybe I didn't. I just haven't upgraded.
Joey didn't know he had ads on his Prime either, and I said, "You got ads on it?" And I looked it up. It's because Prime said, "You know what? Everybody gets ads, and if you don't want them, you have to come in and upgrade it." So this was the commercial break, which it was nice because if you have commercial ad supported any other streaming service. They put the commercial breaks in the weirdest places. These actually put commercial breaks in where the commercial breaks go. So
which made sense because it made it really sitcom-y.
Yeah. So they're leaving the bus station and Mac and Opal are there to meet them. And we see a little spark between Mac and Desiree, which will be a theme throughout this season of Mac wanting to take Desiree on a date and Desiree basically, and at points being just total bitchy, straight out saying, you're not good enough for me.
Way inappropriate.
You work at a car wash and we're in prison and you're a single father. You're not good enough for me. It's legit what she tells him.
Legit. Until he takes his shirt off and then she's like, hi, Mr. Williams. How are you today, sir?
And then to end that first episode, Harry got Desiree a library card with her name on it.
Which is great because part of the story too is like she was saying how her only friend when she was a kid in school was the librarian who was the only person that was nice to her because she knew that she was different and she would during lunch she would just spend all of her time in the library, which was kind of cool because then it meant something because it's the same librarian.
Yeah,
so it was cool.
So episode 2, Harry has a very cluttered house. So, to help zen him, Desiree has a yard sale, and decides to sell a bunch of his shit.
She says something in the description about what she's doing with this yard sale, about how it will help, make this, something that will help with this transition is something about a soft landing. Do you remember this? She said something about, this will help the soft landing. And he said, Metamucil made my soft landings a thing of the past.
Ugh. Gross.
Everything this man says is heaven to me.
So while they're doing the yard sale, Harry and Lewis are going to go hang out and watch the game. And just to throw a little conflict in there, they're rooting for opposite teams. Harry he's surprised that Lewis is into football. And Lewis, who is so well guarded in that closet, he's so masculine. He's like, I'm surprised you like football. And he goes, why are you surprised? And he's like, come on, you know. You know. And he basically tells him, he goes, listen, we know and we don't care. And he's like, you know, I have to be guarded because of, you know, all the shit he put up with growing up. And he goes, that's just who I am. I'm just guarded. So, Matt comes by the yard sale, starts doing some more flirting with Desiree, gives her some onion rings, and asks for her phone number, which she begrudgingly gives up, being just nasty the whole time.
I think this was like, in retrospect, this interaction wasn't as nasty as she's about to be. But she's just kind of like...
It gets worse, but if you're seeing this for the first time, it's like, why are you being so nasty to her?
She's just like, I made a lot of bad decisions, and I always got to the wrong guy, so I'm not even going to... I took it to mean, like, I'm not going after anybody right now. I make poor decisions, and I don't want your number, because I don't want a life like that right now.
So they cut back to Harry and Lewis, and Harry wants to know why Lewis didn't tell him about Desiree. And then Lewis gives him a speech about these are our stories to tell. We don't, you don't out somebody, you don't share it. When she's ready to share it, she shares it. And these are our stories to tell. So Harry comes home and he's like, I like it. It looks good in here. Declutter a little bit. But he notices that his favorite coffee mug is missing. And Opal looks at her chart because she keeps good records because that's what 11-year-old girls do.
Yeah.
And she sold it
She's got a lot of
to
friends.
Miguel, the neighbor, who doesn't like Harry, and Harry doesn't like him. And he tells the story because he's upset, and Desiree's like, I'll buy you a new mug. That one was chipped anyway. And he tells the story of the mug. It was at the cafe or the restaurant that he proposed to her mom at, and that was her coffee mug that she knocked off the table.
He was going to take her out and propose to her. But before he did, he made her, I know this because I wrote down this line. He made her pancakes. And then he said, yeah, that lady could mow down some flapjacks. And so,
they
were going to go on a walk, and he was going to propose on the walk. But before they went on the walk, he made her flapjacks at the house, and she knocked that over and chipped it. And that's why he loves that mug.
And that's when he proposed to her. So they go next door and try to get the mug back, and they have to pay $50 for the mug, which seems excessive, but it's, sentimental, I guess. And then Desiree signs Lewis up for Grindr, and we move on to episode 3. It's career day at Opal School. It opens with they're getting set up before they go in. Harry and Mac and everybody, they're going to follow the mortician, who's this old lady who goes in with a casket and is giving gift bags and having like a dance party to their final years, I guess. But Harry and this mortician lady have beef that goes back 50 years.
Yeah, I forget what it was.
I forget what it was too. But yeah, they have 50-year-old beef. So Harry gets up there and he's doing his thing with Desiree and Mac, and they're totally bombing. So Opal tells Mac to get up, or not Mac, Desiree to get up there and talk about opening an art gallery in New York. And the kids had all their art displayed there from their art class, and they start asking her to critique their art. So she's feeling it's these little things, connects her to the community. Because right now she's still planning on leaving. She's only there temporarily.
If this was a Hallmark movie, you would say this is the moment at which she realizes she's going to marry the handyman and stick around in the small town for the rest of her life.
But we also have like 6 episodes to get through, so they have to string it out a little longer. So they hear ruckus outside after the career day, and they go out there, and Opal is standing over the mortician's grandson, whom she apparently has just hit. And Opal gets suspended. So of course, when your kid gets suspended for fighting, the rational thing to do is you take her to the fair. Yeah, take her to the fair.
You say. Yeah, you must be rewarded some. Yeah. Well, no, I mean, it was punishment for someone like Opal. Forcing her to go and have fun, which was the whole point.
And they were saying that she's obviously stressed out, so they were trying to figure out what it was that set her off to hit this kid. So while Mac is trying to find out why Opal did what she did, Harry and Desiree are working on their relationship. And she pays somebody to have them stuck on the Ferris wheel so they can work through sort of like a Love Simon type thing.
Didn't you get the impression that they were really high in the air?
Yeah, I think that was the joke. Yeah. That's way up in there. And they're actually like 5 feet off.
That's pretty funny.
So we find out that the reason that Opal hit the kid, this guy I don't know how he tolerates any of these people in his
nice.
Life. He's so nice and he's so tolerant. She hit him because the kid said, "You're going to end up like your dad." And she was all mopey and pissy because she didn't want to end up basically a loser like her dad. And her dad's response is to apologize to this obnoxious little kid. "I'm sorry, I'm a loser, baby. I'll do better." And I'm just like, all the women in your life are mean.
I mean, I think it was more like, I want better for you too.
Sure, but she didn't have to little bit bitch about it.
Well, I mean, kids are terrible. That's
Kids
why I
are
don't have them.
awful. Yeah, they are. And Opal is a nasty child and doesn't deserve any happiness in her life.
I think all children's opinions should be saved until they're 35, and then reflect on what you were going to say, and then convince me.
True. So Max starts thinking that he wants to build some more of a legacy in his life. So he talks to Harry about becoming part owner of the car wash, and Harry gives him 10% ownership, and then his daughter's not going to think he's a loser anymore. So good for him. Episode 3. Or no,
I will
episode
say,
4.
So there's a couple of plot holes or things that I find hard to believe. I mean, it's TV, right?
Sure.
You have to believe everything. But part of the thing at the fair, one of the things that was like cutesy about it is that there was this ring toss game. And at the ring toss game, there was a Facts of Life pillow that was a prize. And one thing I do love about this is all the throwback to the 80s stuff that they do throughout the day. Like, there's a running theme of the Karate Kid through all 8 episodes, and I can appreciate that.
You can tell that aside from Opal, these are kids of the 80s and 90s. Yeah.
So, so she's like, oh my God, that pillow's still here. Like, that pillow... Like, no one won that game in the last 23 years to win that pillow.
I'm sure people won the game. Nobody wants a Facts of Life pillow.
So why do they keep it for 23 years?
What are you going to throw it away?
Yes, they would have.
Yeah, somebody will want it eventually.
There's no way that happens in real life. So that was the other thing too, is like that story about the mug.
Yeah.
You know, and how he proposed to her. Is in what world has Desiree never heard that story? Like, you knew how your parents met. Your parents met at a gay bar.
Yeah.
Imagine that they don't tell you that until you're 30. That would just be weird. There's no way that she had never heard that story before. Anyway.
But if she knew that story, then she wouldn't have sold the mug, and we wouldn't have gotten the episode.
and we wouldn't have had to watch 4 hours of TV.
So next, Desiree decides she's going to go to church with Harry. This is episode 4. After the service, been a while since I've been in church, but I think they still do this. The pastor lines up and says goodbye as people are leaving the church. And I guess this pastor likes to hug the ladies and shake the hands of the gentlemen. So as Desiree was coming up, she went in to give a hug, and he kind of pushed her back and then shook her hand. And she found that a bit disrespectful, but more so than her, Ella found it extremely disrespectful and starts to build a coalition in the church to protest against the pastor. Her and the ladies of the church are not going to cook Sunday meals for them anymore. I guess they do a big Sunday dinner at the church.
Can I just say when she's getting ready to go to church, like at the beginning of the show, her father says, "Where are you going? Looking like a bowl of oatmeal with legs." And then she says she wants to go to church, and why? And he's like, "All right, let's roll Quaker Oats."
Yeah, she's wearing a nice little brown business lady suit. So Harry goes, he decides he's going to talk to the pastor. And he goes and the pastor basically says, her baptism certificate. Now, were you ever baptized as a kid?
I don't think so.
When I was younger, we were all baptized.
Don't they do that when you're a baby?
No, that's christening.
Oh.
Baptized, you have to be old enough to give your life to Christ.
Didn't do it.
I don't ever recall them giving certificates, but apparently this church gives you a certificate, but keeps it on file. So weird.
Well,
like, why wouldn't you give them the certificate? Yo, congratulations, here's a certificate.
I did laugh really hard at this whole concept of the baptism certificate, because I don't know if you're aware of this, but I used to have these like crazy parties at my house.
Sure.
And they, however offensive they may be now, and I apologize to anyone who might consider themselves white trash that might be offended by these parties that I used to have, but they were white trash parties, and they were epic, and people like loved to go to them and talked about them for years. But one year, we decided to get baptism certificates for all of these characters that we dressed up as for this party. And we got them like Mama and Junior, like we filled them out, like, and framed them in like dollar store gold frames and put them on the wall. But we were all baptized into the La Brea Tar Pits. It was pretty fun.
All right. So they are.
So they are a real thing.
All right.
Yeah. There's this. There was this church. Not a church. There was a store like a Christian bookstore, Bumby and Colonial.
Yeah.
I don't. It was around for a long time, but that's where we get all of our stuff for these.
All right.
It was fun.
But again, if you're doing certificates, wouldn't you give them to the person as soon as they're baptized? Like, here's your certificate. The pastor keeps them in a file in his file cabinet
Well, if
in the
you
church.
did that, then how could you shame trans people later in life?
I did not know that. I wasn't in his thinking process. I didn't put myself in his shoes. But he keeps them on file. So Harry goes and basically says, "Hey, can you just change her name?" And he's like, "No, that's what's on the birth certificate or on the baptism certificate." So Harry leaves, and there's he has a really nice car with like a silver Jesus hood ornament. So we later find out Harry ripped it off and stole it, which good for him. He stole the baby Jesus or the adult Jesus.
I'm not a churchgoer. I don't give 10% of my salary to the people that say that they talk to the Lord. But if I was going to church and I was giving 10% of my salary and struggling to make ends meet, and I see that, the pastor rolls up in this really rich car with this like statue on the end of his car, I'd be like, what are you spending the money on?
I'm not going to say every church is this way, but just churches that I've seen in person and on TikTok and on YouTube, they don't care. They're like, Jesus wants him to be successful and have a nice car and have planes, and they just give him the money knowing that's what it's going towards. So they're buying their way into heaven. That's all they're doing. So they're all getting upset with the preacher or the pastor, and they're going to, do all these rallies and everything. And Desiree flips out and tells them they're all doing it for themselves, and she storms out. But before she does, they're at Harry's favorite restaurant. And she insults the mac and cheese, calls it watery. So Harry ends up getting banned from his favorite restaurant, which is very upsetting to him. So Desiree was just going to kind of blow off the whole church thing. And then Opal gives her a speech about Daniel's son and the Karate Kid. And it perks her back up. So she goes to church. And Lewis, who had also snapped at her about her being, taking on the church with everything, saying Chicago's hard to say I'm sorry with the choir, which was lovely.
Yeah, which we all listened to a couple of weeks ago because
We
that's
sure
the
did.
song that Jen and I
song.
fight about. And we laughed so hard when they started singing it.
So they all apologize. And Harry says, since we've all now apologized, I need you to go apologize to the restaurant owner so they'll let me back in. And so they all go to the restaurant, and the owner comes over to have Desiree apologize. And it turns out he was in the joint with Mac. And while Mac was in, he used to give sermons, and apparently was very arousing to the prisoners with his sermons.
So Mac's like a man, you never know what's going to happen next with him. He does a lot of good in this world, and he's about to get shit on by this person for no reason.
He is a deep vessel.
Now, I know that this probably isn't the point of the creators of the show, but did you happen to notice? So a subplot to this episode was that Mac and his daughter don't go to church.
Yes.
So they're out to find people who don't go to church on Sundays to wash their cars so that the business does really great on Sundays because everybody else is at church.
Yeah.
And every single person that they went up to hand a flyer to was either a drunk or a sex worker. And I thought, certainly this show isn't suggesting the only people who don't go to church are drunkards and streetwalkers.
No. What they're saying is the only people who don't go to church in Mobile, Alabama are drug users and sex workers.
I will say, have you ever been to Mobile, Alabama?
No.
I used to visit there all the time.
I'm sorry.
My biological father's parents lived in Mobile. And the Mobile that I know from going to visit them and the Mobile in this show, way different.
Are they?
Way different.
This is a very Hope's Float kind of fun, joyful southern Mobile, Alabama.
Yeah. Now, I will say the only two places that I remember, because I was really young when we were doing this, are the trailer that they lived in and the funeral. Not the funeral, the graveyard next door.
Oh, yeah.
Those are the two places I went. So, yeah, it's very different from this.
Fascinating. You like Mac, are a deep vessel. full of secrets. Next episode, Harry's teaching Desiree how to drive a car. While Desiree is driving, Harry has, at first I thought it was a heart attack, but they didn't call it a heart attack, but for purposes of this,
I think it was.
He had a heart attack. And Desiree decides she's going to take care of Harry while Mac, is taking care of the place, the car wash. And she is like making him eat all her weird tofu, vegetarian foods, which he's not happy about. You chuckled there.
Yeah, the only thing
something to add.
Yeah, I just wrote this because they said that he had like arrhythmia or something like that.
Yeah,
and his response was, "I knew the rhythm was going to get me."
This is the D&D episode also. So while Harry is laid up at home, we find out that Mac likes playing D&D. So he's sneaking around to play D&D with Miguel. He doesn't want Harry to find out because he knows that Harry doesn't like Miguel. Of course, that means Harry finds out that he's playing D&D with Miguel. And he finds out because he's out at the garbage cans where he keeps his snack stash, which is disgusting. But he's sneaking snacks he's not supposed to be eating. And he sees Mac leaving.
Points
Miguel's
to him
place.
for duct taping the Kit Kat under the garbage can lid.
So Miguel and Harry decide to make a truce. And to celebrate their truceism, Desiree takes the pronoun jar money and makes him like a little man cave and buys a new TV and gets a new recliner. And Miguel helped to get all
which
this
is
stuff.
what Miguel's real job is. He's not really this person that he's pretending to be. He builds man caves.
Yeah. So that's that episode.
Yeah.
Then we move on. It's election day. Souls to the polls, as they call it. And then Lewis, who's driving the van that day, I did write this down because I thought this is cute. He says, I'm going to give these ladies the best polls they've ever had.
Yeah.
It's kind of gross.
Oh, I'm going to give these ladies the best pole ride of their lives.
Oh, yes, that's what it was. So Harry and Miguel are in line. Ella is running in charge of the polling place. And Harry and Miguel are fighting in line. There's a whole lot to this one. They light the American flag on fire, which seemed very. I was like, ooh, let's see where this goes. They really.
This episode is very sitcom-y. The whole thing, like the overbearing line monitor of the poll, which the mom played,
the liberal girl, and the Trumper with wearing the American flag cape.
Yeah.
Getting in an argument. The guys wheel out and barbecue in line.
Yeah. So the barbecue
just
explodes.
Lots of chaos.
The guy was on fire. The flag lit up on fire. Yeah. Everything was burning. And then, but at the end of the episode, the guy was just standing there in his charred cape. And I thought, certainly that guy must go to the hospital. He was on fire.
His love of patriotism kept him safe.
I mean, how long does it take to vote?
So this is the only thing I really want to mention this episode. This is the episode where I was like, I had to step away from it because I was like, Desiree, you're pissing me off. Because this is where she tells him that she deserves better than him in her life, and that's why she's not going to go out with him.
Yeah, it was way uncalled for.
Yeah, so uncalled for. And then she apologizes, and he's like, yeah, okay. And then he takes his shirt off, and it's very nice. It's very nice.
Yeah, then after he takes his shirt off, and then he turns around and he looks at her and he says, "You know what about that date?
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Never mind.
Yeah.
Forget I asked."
And she's all
and then
hot
she's
and
like,
bothered
"But
now.
now you're so beautiful."
Next episode is Mardi Gras. So they have a big Mardi Gras parade. Mac takes Opal to a party where he meets another woman. You knew this was going to happen as soon as the episode ended. And he's like, you know what? Don't worry about it. And then she starts to, oh, well, maybe I do have feelings for him. I knew next episode they're going to introduce another woman.
This other woman, I didn't write her name down, but I love everything she does.
Yeah.
Did you ever see a show called Life in Pieces?
Yes.
How did that show must have stopped because everybody involved had other projects they wanted to do. There's no way that show got canceled. That was a brilliant television.
That was a really good show. I did
like
that one.
The wife of one of the brothers, I think, in that show.
Is that her?
Yeah, I think so. She was way skinnier in this show.
Was that her? Are you sure?
Well, you know what? I'll look it up while you talk about it.
Okay, I'm going to be honest. My notes are limited on this one because I did fall asleep during this episode.
Oh, you wicketed it. Is that a word? Is that a thing?
It was
to wicked something is to sleep during it.
It was very wicketed. It was getting late because I watched it later in the day. Desiree, sorry, your name escaped me. Desiree and Louis decide they're going to go out partying.
So he takes her to this gay bar out in the middle of nowhere, right? This is my favorite line of the show, so I wrote it down. It's as soon as they're walking up to it, she goes, "Did you bring me here to kill me?" Because it's a crappy place.
It is a shithole. But they hear that there is a party going on that like a rave party, I guess.
Oh no, it's the fluid ball.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah,
the fluid ball?
I read it, I was like, ew, what's it called? The fluidity ball.
The fluidity ball.
Blech.
And Louis, who is newly signed up on Grindr, has been talking to a doctor who is a dermatologist named James, and he's going to be at the party. So Desiree's like, we're going.
He's a nice looking guy, huh?
He is very handsome. So Louis is being, at this point, Louis's semi-closetedness is getting obnoxious in the show. So I'm happy that he meets James and they hit it off, and he's like, you know what, I'm going to be more open and out. So they're like kissing and shit. And Desiree is getting drunk and hanging out with these young girls and talking about how she's not really, she doesn't need Mac and she's her own independent self. So they all decide they're going to leave. Oh, no, Harry and Ella show up at the bar because Harry keeps messaging Desiree throughout the night. Send me a picture. I want to know you're alive, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because he's worried about her. So when she doesn't reply to her messages, they both go to the party. And Harry has a dance-off, I guess is what that was.
Yeah, he bumps into some guy, and the guy's mad. He's like, get out of my way, and he's yelling at him, and then they have a dance-off.
Yeah, so they do a little dance-off, and so they end up leaving, not Opal, what's her name? Desiree, and the girls end up leaving, and they grab Louis, and they're like, we need to go find her. And the girls took off with the car. They ended up taking off with their car, and Desiree's walking down the street, not doing so hot for someone who's too good for Mac. And so they pick her up and take her home, and the girls return the car in the morning.
She looked famous. She looked like she's in something else.
Who?
The girl that stole the car and was driving.
I don't recognize any of them.
The cast list things that I'm finding aren't very great.
Yeah. And that's how that episode ends. Then we hit up the season finale. So Desiree decides that she wants to change her name on her baptism certificate, or just get rebaptized as her authentic self and get a new certificate. So the Reverend refuses, says, hey, the classes are full. But Louis knows the person who does the class, so he calls in a favor, gets Desiree into one of the baptism classes. Meanwhile, Mac is macking on this new mom lady, and they go out on a date. So they end up not letting Desiree get baptized in the church. They don't let her finish the class. So she goes to Mac's house, and Mac's there with his date, and she's boo-hooing to him about, I've hit rock bottom. And he's like, so the only time you want to talk to me is when you're at rock bottom. And then he closes the door on her. And she's all upset and decides that talking to Opal, and Opal says, you know what, we're gonna baptize you. So they decide they're gonna baptize her in the car wash. And she has this moment where she walks through the car wash and gets baptized. Then they go to the baptism party, where Louis comes out to his mama and his family, introduces them to James, and James just now found out that Louis was in the closet, and he's like, listen, you're just now coming out of the closet. I didn't sign up for this. You need to kind of explore yourself and figure out who you are. So James breaks up with him, And Lewis goes to tell his mom and knocks on her bedroom door and says, hey, James just broke up with me. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry, baby. Do you want to talk about it? And he goes, not right now. And she's like, okay, you go to bed. And she closes her bedroom door, and Harry is behind her bedroom door. Those two have been boning the whole time. Which I'll tell you, I'm not surprised by. And then,
I was happy about it.
yeah, I think they're a cute couple. Matt goes to Desiree and basically says, hey, I think we should start over, blah, 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 blah. Desiree kisses Mac. Harry walks up on them kissing. And right behind Harry is Gavin, Desiree's ex from New York, who shows up into town. We're assuming to win her back and end the season. They ended on that little cliffhanger there.
But they don't show who it is, right?
No. Well, they say she says Gavin.
Right, but you don't see him.
But you don't see him at all because they haven't cast him apparently yet.
Yeah. Well, I hope they have a season 2. Otherwise, we'll never know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay if they don't.
So, anyway, that actress is from Life in Pieces,
Yep.
Angelique Cabral. I will find out. I'm just curious, so I'll have to go look up who this other person is. But Nene Leakes was in an episode, in the voting episode or something. No,
when they were washing the bus. I Googled her really quick because they made it seem like she was somebody, and she's like from Real Housewives.
From
or
Real
something.
Housewives. Yeah, she was also in Glee. She was the. You didn't watch Glee?
I watched the first season, but that was like 20 years ago.
She was like the rival to when Sue Sylvester started liking Will Schuester, and they were nice. She needed a nemesis, and it was a rival coach, or like she ended up taking over the cheerleading squad or something like that. Anyway, didn't look anything like her.
Yeah,
that didn't look anything like what she looks like otherwise outside of that show. So she was in that. Padma played the doctor. She's like the cooking judge or something on some
doctor for what?
She was the doctor that took care of the dad.
Of Harry?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know who Padma
I think
is.
she's like what is she in? I
don't know.
She does some sort of judge on some show. I feel like it's a cooking show. Anyway, let's see if it shows.
But obviously, what you're saying is they had a lot of guest spots on there from what it seems like reality show folks.
No. She's known for glitter. Oh Jesus. Top Chef. Yeah, she was a judge in Top Chef.
Oh yeah, I don't watch that either. Reality show folks.
When that guy came out, when he came out to his mom, or when he finally came out after it was all
at the dinner.
Yeah. He said, "What's his name again?"
Lewis.
Yes. The father said, "Look at Lewis coming out, kicking that door open like he's Bruce Leroy." Made me laugh. Good times.
Very nice. Good times.
So what do you give it? What do you say on the grape scale?
I give it 2.5 grapes. It was okay. It started off very kind of eye-rolly sitcom-y. It got better. And then by the last episode, I was annoyed with everyone except for Harry and Ella. So if only those two come back in season 2, I'll watch season 2. The rest of them, I don't care what happens to them.
Yeah, I will say I really like Laverne Cox. I like the show because I think that it's nice to have. I mean, you have a sitcom about something in a place somewhere that maybe people aren't talking about, and so it's just nice to see that. But
I appreciate the show being what it is and being out. But that's not enough to make me watch it second season.
I like George Wallace so much in this that I'll watch it because he cracks me up.
I do like George
the
Wallace.
whole time. Yeah. So I'll give it 3. I'll say it's 3. It's not something like say you got a list going. Everybody's got a list, right? Of shows that they need to stream.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be in your top 5. But you can put it on your list and check it out when you catch up on all your other stories.
If you're looking to get streaming services, this is not something I would get Prime for. Like, if I didn't have Prime, this isn't something I'd be like, I need to get Prime so I can watch this.
No, but if you have it.
Like, if I didn't have Max when The Last of Us season 2 starts up, I would get Max just for that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't get it
But
just
you
for
have
this.
Max so you can
But I
watch
have
brothers
Max already.
make out on White Lotus.
I don't write it. I just watch it. And like I said earlier, they ain't my brothers. So you boys kiss all you want.
All right. Well, we got an exciting week ahead of us. We have the
Is there Rotten Tomatoes on this? Do they do TV
yeah, there
shows?
was actually. Rotten Tomatoes is pretty good.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, you want to guess?
89.
dead on.
Are you serious?
89 from critics, 81 from audiences.
Oh, all right.
So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Which is weird because critics gave The Parenting 43 or something like that, and I would definitely put The Parenting above this.
I think movie critics are different than TV critics. They're different groups.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good times. So we'll be back with a busy
Yeah, we're gonna
time
watch
next week.
the Miss Comedy Queen pageant is this week.
Yes, and you're gonna see the whole thing, and I'm gonna see a fraction of it.
Yeah. Everything except the finale, but I'll catch you up.
Cool. But until then, the cork is back in the bottle.